Welcome to DLB Radio Show number 11. It is June 10th, 9 p.m. USA EDT, and June 11, 2017, 9 a.m. Manila time. And thank you for joining us. Our topic, 1,000 Years of Peace, highlights of Revelation chapter 12. This is DJ Mercy and DJ Rami. DJ Rami?
Hello everyone, and welcome to the show. We thought it was important to talk about 1,000 years of peace, just so that if you are already experiencing 1,000 years of peace, you could be guided on what to expect, what will happen, where you're headed. And 1,000 Years of Peace is actually in chapter 20 of the book of Revelation. And if you have been in the practice of letting go, and you come to a point where you feel like you're in a room with nothing in it, and that you prefer just quiet time and silence. Or even if, let's say, you have a family, you go to work, your life is looks very normal. Inside, it looks very, very quiet. That could be a period called 1,000 years of peace. Before we backtrack on the journey to 1,000 years of peace, I want to ask Mercy first to share her experience on this period.
I have no words. Earlier I was thinking, so what do I say? And I've been in blank almost all day, even though I've been working on words and talking to having clients. But the journey to these places peaceful, it's hard to explain, because all of a sudden I found myself with plenty of words around me and information that I wanted to share, and then all of a sudden, when I wanted to articulate, it just would melt away, excuse me, and I didn't have anything to share. So all of a sudden I was in this, maybe it's a vacuum, or the sense of not having any thoughts in my mind. And so it was like if you would be in space, navigating through space. You know that you have a lot of information. You know that there's things happening around you and in you. But when you want to share it, it's not the same. It's just like, almost like, do you really need to share it? Is there really a need to just speak because words are in your mind? So all of a sudden I had to really focus on what the heck was happening, and especially for me, because for me, I'm a storyteller and I'm always wanting to share. That's one of my guideposts of my soul's journey, of sharing everything that I experience, every journey that I go through. I like to share it, right? And all of a sudden I had all this things occurring. I could feel love, I could feel this peace, and when I wanted to write or post on Facebook, all of a sudden it was like it disappeared from me. It just I didn't have any words to put in a post. So I think I spent several weeks and several days with not too much posting for that reason, and trying to redefine, how do I do storytelling now? What about you, DJ Rami?
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, was there ever a time that you felt that you were alarmed or that you panicked?
No, I just thought that I guess my sole purpose must have changed. How do I do my new world? Um, Really, it was a new world for me. How do I move from this now? I came here, I was so definite knowing that my purpose was to share and to do storytelling, and all of a sudden, when I try to do the storytelling, the words disappear, they melt away. So it took me a while to navigate through that space to understand that what was happening was I no longer operated from keeping all my information in my mind, but that I was operating from being connected to the flow of the universe, and then when I need to speak, like right now, all the words just flow. That I don't have to keep a mental tally of my words, if that makes any sense.
What I'd like to do is I'd like to backtrack a bit and give sort of like a timeline, but using of revelation, so that wherever you find yourself in the timeline, you would know what can happen and where you are. Okay, let's begin with the highlights of Revelation, uh, moving up to chapter 20. The reason why I want to begin in Revelation 12 is because there is a story about a woman that is about to give birth. That's the start of the story. So there's a woman clothed with the sun, and she was about to give birth. Now, the woman, scholars say, represents our connection to eternal life, this creative principle. So, a woman clothed with the sun gave birth to a child, and the child is Christ consciousness. Now, sometime in 2016, this was in October 2016, several people I know began exhibiting or began experiencing this phase or period. I'm not saying that this is the only time this has happened, and I'm not saying October 2016 is the only time it will happen. In fact, what I mean is that each person will go through this period in the course of many lifetimes. So I saw this happening to several people, and I began observing. Now, part of Revelation 12 is a story about after she had given birth, the woman fled to the wilderness. And this portion is very much like the Feast of the Tabernacles or Sukkot in the Jewish tradition. Then soon after, it says in Revelations that war broke out in heaven, and the dragon was hurled to earth and then went off to wage war against the rest of the woman's offsprings. So you see this kind of experience where a person is experiencing Christ consciousness, but just the birth of it. And then the other parts of the cycle is going to war. So that kind of push and pull in terms of experience. Now, the next chapter, Revelation 13 and 14, when you read it, that is the presentation of the two sides of the battle line. One side is the force of separation. The other one is the power of oneness. Some people say, Rami, why do you say one side is against the other? Why would you even call it that way? Mean black versus white versus bad. I can't call it good versus bad, and that's why I call it the two forces of separation and oneness. Because one side wants to be in oneness in us, and then another side wants to separate. So there is no way that you can put the two together. They are, one is the antithesis of the other. Now, again, this is all happening in, and then here comes chapters 15, 16, and 17, which talks about the 7 angels, the 7 plagues, and then the 7 bowls of God's wrath. Now, this is a very difficult time. In fact, I am seeing this in a lot of people, and they send me messages and they say that they can no longer deal with reality, and that it was like going day by day trying to hurdle all the difficulties. Now, you see, this is a time when people begin practicing. They become very open to the practice of letting go because they've done everything and tried everything and studied, and nothing anymore seems to work. When a person hits rock bottom, the only way to go is up. And the reason why the person goes up is because when you hit rock bottom, you have no choice but to let go. If I introduce letting go to a person who has not reached this point, they will listen to me, write down the book of David Hawkins, but they will not read it. They will not read it nor begin practicing. So, again, this is a phase or a period. Now, the question is, what are we letting go of? Are we letting go of old hurts, old pains, memories, heavy emotions? Actually, what people are letting go of is what you call the harlot, the beast, and the false prophet. So all three we let go of. And that is why in Revelation 18, the story is about the fall of the harlot. The harlot symbolizes everything that is out there that entices us to look outside rather than inside. Revelation 19 is about the beast and the false prophet. The false prophet, by the way, is also known as the second beast. And they are thrown into the fiery lake of burning sulfur. So the harlot, the beast, and the false prophet, they go into the lake, the burning lake. Now, will you let go of what the harlot, the beast, and the false prophet represent, or will your consciousness join them in the fiery lake? That's the question. Because some people, when someone in despair comes to you, you could very much tell that their consciousness is close to the brink of the fiery lake. So that's the question. Are you going to let go of those parts of you? The beast is our beastie nature, by the way, the very primordial unconscious reactions that we have. And the false prophet is part of us that masquerades as the truth. Meaning to say, the part of us that does not want to go into oneness. The harlot is reliance on the outside world to experience love, peace, and joy, meaning to say, instead of looking for love, peace, and joy within, we look at and rely on worldly things. Beast, again, is the selfish, animalistic, and lower nature. And the false prophet is self-delusion, or believing the outside world is our salvation and solution to brokenness. After we have let go of the three, remember there is one more character, which is the dragon. After we let go of the three, we enter into 1,000 years of peace. And the only character left, which is the dragon, is thrown into the bottomless pit. This is in Revelations 20. The bottomless pit is a holding room to keep the dragon, quote unquote, from deceiving nations until 1,000 years have ended. Now, the dragon is the spirit in us of separation, self-centeredness, self-gratification, self-indulgence, self-importance, self-justification, self-condemnation. That's what it is. Now, 1,000 is countless or infinite, infinity or eternity. Now, the experience that Mercy was describing a while ago is what this countless or infiniteness or eternity is about. And so, this is a period of realizing an infinite nature and acclimatizing to it. That is the purpose of 1,000 years. In other words, once we've let go of everything, we need to make some adjustments to this new dimension or new world that we're experiencing. Now, after 1,000 years, it says in Revelations 20, the dragon will be set free for a period of time. And the question is, what will happen? A situation will require you to make a decision. Will you be the bride of Christ, or will you return to being a harlot and return to your boyfriend, the dragon? So this event in 1,000 years, when the dragon will be set free, is a rite of passage rather than a tough decision to make. It's not a tough decision because by then you would have acclimatized already and you would have said, no, I really, really would like to be a bride of Christ. And you see, the dragon will perish anyway, and you can go with it into the fiery lake if you want, or you can choose new heaven, new earth. And so there is a book, it's called the Book of Revelation, New Metaphysical Version by Bill Halton. I'm going to post the cover of the book. It's a very good book to read in terms of understanding revelation in us, not revelation out there. So that's a book recommendation. And so, Mercy, with this 1,000 years of peace, do you have any other tips for us? and what you're going through?
Because we went backwards and now back, I would say that the greatest lesson I learned was I was looking for that dragon, that Armageddon outside of me without realizing that revelation is an inner journey. And as much as I have heard it from Edgar Casey's work and from so many other, you go into a blind spot and don't realize that the chaos will be coming in from within, not from the outside. And so I did have to go, no, I didn't have to, but I did go through some chaos before I got to this space of 1,000 years of peace. And I surely don't understand, I think it took me several weeks to figure out how to navigate. But at the same time, within a few, it's almost like when it has happened before, but not the same, when you're energetically moving from one octave to another or a new awareness. It feels like you're brand new in this new space of energy. And this pace, it was just adapting to that. My mind was not going to be the busy mind that I used to have with a lot of thoughts. But instead, when I need the words, they just flow into me, and I'm able to communicate. And so it was really almost like how do you want to say it? Like when you're going into rehab from having a surgery or something like that, and you have to, or you have a broken bone and you have to reuse your arm again, and you're going through rehab. It was just having to go through, I would say, a rehab, I guess, to recondition myself on understanding how I do my sharing and my storytelling, and that my sole purpose of storytelling is still alive and well. I just do it differently. I don't have to store all my thinking and thoughts or strategic mind mapping, that it just flows. And the more I let go and I let God in, the better I was. So for those who have come to my workshops or been in private sessions lately with me, you will know that that's the homework I send out most of the time, because letting go and letting God in really helped me navigate through this space that was so weird, and it was uncertain, and I didn't know how to communicate. And it was that letting go and letting God in. It was just really, truly what allowed me to understand this new world I was in.
You know, I certainly agree with you that revelation happens within. And yet, you see, whatever happens within is projected to the outer world, which we call reality. Now, when a lot of people enter into the phase of Revelations 13, 14, 15, that's when you see the outer world starting to look very messy. In fact, it's looking very messy right now. But just to encourage you, in Revelations 21, there is Omram Ivanhoe in his book, the Book of Revelation, says, a wall is a protection, because there is a wall that is described in Revelations 21. And the wall surrounding the heavenly city is the symbol of a powerful aura that surrounds and protects us. For we who possess a powerful aura are protected by the radiance of our own light. The aura or wall of the city, New Jerusalem, has 12 force centers, which is related to the 12 orifices of the body. And these 12 centers are sealed, meaning to say nothing anymore from the outside can influence once you reach the state of new heaven, new earth, described in Revelations 21.
Remy Andrea is asking, Remy Mercy, if we live 1,000 years of peace, does that mean that there will be no more wars, confusion, or suffering anymore?
Personally, again, going back to what I talked about, there will be a time when the dragon will be set free. And that time, you could see it as a testing period, but really for me, it's not much of a testing period. And what will happen is there will be a scene or situation where it is so tempting to go back to old ways. Old ways meaning to say, if before letting go you were a very angry person, or you would, old ways meaning to say you will choose separation. So there is that experience or situation. Now, it's not going to be a very hard choice because, like I said, it's really like, for example, you have a new boyfriend. So you left your old boyfriend, you now have a new boyfriend. So you're doing good, you're okay. Then suddenly, the old boyfriend shows up. That's what it is. And then for
conflict.
A split, for a split
Do I want to go?
second.
Maybe he was the love of my life, and I let him go.
And so you look at your old boyfriend, and you look at your new boyfriend, and you're, which is which? And then you're just a bit tempted to go back to your old boyfriend for one reason or another, because it just feels at home, or it feels familiar. So the situation could be like, you've been with this old boyfriend for 7 years, and then you break up with him, you go with your new boyfriend, and you've just been together for about 3 months. So there's that kind of familiarity, and that's the only reason why you want to look the other way and say, what if I just ditch my new handsome boyfriend and go back to, what feels familiar?
Yeah.
And so that happens. So to answer your question, Andrea, yes and no. There will be, this is the beginning of peace, no war, no confusion, no suffering. But just pay attention to that one instance. Then after that, this dragon or this nature of separation in us is thrown into the bottomless pit, the last of them. And that's it. That's what happens. Mercy?
I was going to say that when you were talking about the boyfriend scenario, it reminded me what I see sometimes, and that's why letting go and let God in is such a powerful tool. Because we have this, I think to me, this is my personal opinion, a misguided or misinterpretation about karma and purposes of us being with a specific partner or a situation. And I've had friends even or clients say, well, how do I know if it's, should I not stay in this relationship? Maybe there's a karmic lesson that I haven't learned yet, and I need to keep with this relationship until I learn it. And so when I look at that, I'm thinking, boy, that would let you go into not understanding who is the harlot and who's the bride. So you get into this confusion state, and where you think that if you let go of a relationship or you let go of that old boyfriend that we just let go, and all of a sudden you're in a new relationship, and then all of a sudden you start questioning yourself. You start questioning, maybe the old relationship was what my sole purpose was, or maybe my old relationship is the lesson that I came here to do, and maybe I'm abandoning my soul's lessons. And that could really be a confusion period if you're not helping yourself with letting go and letting God in. Because what I have found with letting go and letting God in is letting go of my worries, of my anxiety to God, and letting God in me. What happens is somehow it comes to me very clearly of what is my action to take, versus my mind trying to figure out what's best for me. And that's the difference here. Would you think, DJ Rami?
I totally agree with what you had mentioned, because I noticed that there is within the period of letting go, so we're talking about Revelations 18 and 19.
Mm-hmm.
There is a time where, and this is common, I saw this among several people, they didn't want to just let go. Yes, they want to let go, but just not yet, because I want to get to the bottom of things. So they're hanging on, and what they're really hanging on to is the harlot, the beast, and the false prophet. And so the thing here is to relentlessly let go. There's really no use in holding on, and the way people put it is, because I want to learn, I don't want this to happen again. Yes and no, because you need not prolong this getting to the root of it and really learning. You can actually learn very quickly and then let go. So that's one thing that I noticed. I just want to touch a bit on the wrath of God. We've talked about this in previous recordings, but since we're already here in Revelations 15, 16, and 17, you will read about, onwards, 18 and 19, the wrath of God. And what is that? Well, people, especially those who look at Revelation outside them, are actually more afraid of the Antichrist rather than the wrath of God. So what is there to be afraid of with the wrath of God? Let me put it this way. If you are on the right side of the battle line, meaning to say you are on the side of oneness and not on the side that is wanting to separate and tear oneness, have no fear. But if you happen to stand on the wrong side of the battle line and you promote separation, there is something to fear. And it is not the Antichrist that is fearful, it is the wrath of God. A very simple explanation of what the wrath of God is. My mom and I were talking about the wrath of God, and she said, "What does it mean? Can you help me understand?" At that very moment, from the corner of her eye, she saw a cat creeping in the house, approaching her two birds, her parrots. You know, she stood up so suddenly and ran towards the cat, and she said, "Get out! Get away!" And then she came back. She sat down again. And then I said to her, that is the wrath of God. You see, the wrath of God is very protective and very severe. And it will protect all those who choose oneness. Because when you choose oneness, that means you will never, ever go down the path of separation. And if that is the case, there has to be a protective shield around those that choose oneness. That is the wrath of God. I'd like to open the floor to more questions.
Sure. Anyone else has a question, guys?
You can unmute yourself, by the way, if you find it hard to type. Okay.
We hypnotize them.
In case you have questions, when we post the recording, feel free to comment and ask a question, or you can send a private message to Mercy and I, and we'd be more than glad to answer any of your questions.
You know, Revelation is something that I have been exposed to since the Edgar Casey did a lot of the reading and interpretation with a study group on Revelation while he was alive, and he left material on it. And we hear about it, and we go through it, and it's still complicated. And it's complicated because it's symbolism. And as soon as we read certain things in Revelation, our mind will do a picture for us, you know. It's going to try to comprehend by picturing what that really means to us. And sometimes it really is confusing. So if you have any questions, we're here. And we'll try our best. I know Rami does much better in the symbolism than I do. But we're always open for a question, and especially a question that makes us even explore more in depth what Revelation is bringing us into our awareness.
I also hope that you will share with us your experiences as you go through the process of letting go, and then 1,000 years of peace, seeing your old boyfriend. Mercy and I would be very, very, very interested to learn about to see your experiences as well. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you also, Mercy, for being with us and being my partner.
Anytime, DJ Rami. Anytime. I'm not going to throw you out for another boyfriend, DJ Rami.
No, I won't give you up either for an old boyfriend. Thank you very much. Sue says, yes, I found it confusing and scary, so thank you for holding the space. Your explanation helps see what symbolism means. You're welcome. And don't worry, guys, I won't go back to my old boyfriend.
The new boyfriend is delightful. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. And of course, you know that we are recording this show, and it will be at our YouTube channel, DLB Radio Show channel. And as soon as I get it there, we'll announce it so you can revisit and share it with others. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.